Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever Samuel Strategy Sunday, SSS for short. I know I'm excited. I hope you are as well. As you can see in the title, we're going to be taking a look at defeating the dive composition, but not without an introduction first. Let me go ahead and flip over the scene. How are you? Welcome to this Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. If you're in Europe, I'm sure you're probably asleep right now. If you're in the Pacific Coast, you're probably just having dinner. If you're on the Eastern Coast, I don't really care about the East Coast. I'm kidding. You're lovely people. I lived out there for a while. It was a great place. Anyway, my name is Samuel, Ian J. Barker, a.k.a. Samuel. You can see it on the bottom right there. And this is a new experiment for me. I've been doing some practice broadcasting for a while now. And I said that I want to do something a little bit different. I signed on with a website called Cloth 5. Great website, great articles there. And I started doing a weekly column with them called Strategy with Samuel. Anyway, the whole idea behind Strategy with Samuel is that I take a look at professional play each week. And I kind of break it down, and I take a look at how it works, and I dissect it, and I do all this research and stuff, and I try to figure out the dynamics of the play. And I wanted to do something a little more than just do the write-up, because I know that the write-up is a really digestible way for some people to absorb that information. But I also love presenting. I love talking to people. I love interacting with people, and I wanted to do something a little bit more than just the write-up. So for those of you who are looking for more of a video demonstration, this is what I'll be doing every week after that column comes out on Sunday nights at the same time, 7 p.m. Central Time. And I'm just going to be taking a look at what we covered in the column, going through the details of it, giving you some kind of video replays from some YouTube videos from the LCS matches and things of that nature, and just kind of breaking down the strategy. So if you like what you see, let me know. I have the chat open. I'm going to take a look at it. Let me actually go ahead and just link that article that I posted on Cloth 5 so you can take a look if you want the longer version. But if you don't want the longer version, sit tight because we're about to have a good night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the composition each week. I'm going to go ahead and explain it. I'm going to go ahead and give you just examples, give you the video replays, and just try to keep it within a manageable time frame. That way that you can digest it. And overall, I just want to have fun. I want to have fun with you guys. I want to educate. I want to learn what you're interested in, and I want to create this great thing between us where we learn more about League of Legends and we become better players together. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The first thing I want to start with tonight is something called, let's see, there we go, the 3 rules of ladder. Here's the thing. I'm going to give you a lot of strategies. They're going to be great strategies coming down from professional players who know what they're doing and things of that nature, but I felt it necessary to lay down a bit of a bedrock about the things that these people are doing, because there are things that they do that we aren't even aware of, that we don't even pay attention to because we can't know their lives. We're not playing solo queue with them, but I wanted to lay down some things that maybe if we take hold of them and kind of consider them every single time that we go into ladder, we'll have a better experience. So what I've developed is what I like to call the 3 rules of ladder. These are as follows. As you can see them on the left: communicate, be positive, and never flame. I'll go ahead and go through those one at a time. And the whole idea is not about beating everyone or becoming this incredible, grandiose player. The whole idea about these is tied to the fact that League of Legends is a team game. And for that reason, especially with an enormous community with a wide range of player skill bases, sometimes we're forced to interact with people that are not so great. Sometimes we have to interact with people that are great. Either way, we want to have the best time we possibly can. Double Lift, Chowster, I don't know, I can only think of CLG people at the moment, but those are the people that are coming to mind. They play the game not only because they enjoy it, I'm sure, on some level, but also because there's a paycheck, there's glory involved, things like that. You and I play this game because we want to have fun. Alright? I cannot stress that enough. You and I play this game, follow with me here, because we have fun. I think it's one of the things that I have most frequently lost sight of in playing video games, especially at a high level over the years, is the fact that when I sit down at the computer and I want to play, I'm doing it to have fun. So these 3 rules, the 3 rules over here on the right-hand side, they stem from that fact. They stem from the fact that not only do we want to have a great experience and communicate everything effectively and be the most effective we can with our teammates, but we also want to have fun. As crazy as it sounds, we want to enjoy the game that we're playing. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the rules and see how those factor into our experience. To begin with, we've got communicate. Let me see if I'm pointing right here. I feel like a weatherman. There we go. Communicate. When you take a look at high-level play by professional esports athletes, competitive gamers, whatever we're going to call them, I'm going to ignore the semantics and just say when you see a great team of League of Legends players playing together, one of the primary things that you notice when you look at them are headsets. It's a simple thing, but the fact is that professional players not only have a lot of history together, working together, playing together, so they know each other's moves, they know each other's mentality, and they've discussed strategies beforehand. Should those strategies change on the fly, they have instantaneous voice communication in order to relay those changes to one another, as well as make calls of who the priority target is in a team fight, what objective they should take, whether or not they should finish, things of that nature. What we have in solo queue is that times 0.0001%. We are clicking constantly, we're focusing on last hitting. If you're like me, you have a second monitor up with LOL King or MOBA Fire builds up in the corner, and you're looking to see what your next item is, maybe because you're playing a new champion and you don't understand the build, or maybe because you're brand new and you're not sure what you should build at the moment. But either way, in between those clicks of last hits, paying attention to the websites, paying attention to the minimap, all those things, we can't even talk to our other teammates. All we can manage to do is eke out a few lines of text communication between each other every once in a while, and frequently if we're in the middle of a fight, we're using those keys to use our abilities and affect the flow of the battle. So what I propose is communicate everything. If you're in the middle of a fight, press the G key and click on Ezreal, if Ezreal is the high priority target. If you buy an important item and you talk about, for example, if I'm Vayne and I say, I got Blade of the Rune King, let's push the lane hard because I'm ready to take down Misfortune. That's something to communicate. All of these little items of chat and text become extremely important to the grand scheme of the game. Your teammates will react differently if you tell them that you're going to take the farm bottom. Your team fights will go differently if you focus on a specific person. And most importantly, you will all be a part of a conversation that dictates where the game is going. So again, what you want to do is, if you're headed somewhere, ping that you're going that way. If somebody pings out Dragon, don't just start walking towards it. Press G, hold down the mouse button, click I'm on my way, and tell them that you're going to Dragon. If you think that you should take a tower instead of going to Dragon, ping it. Say to your teammates what you want to happen. Even if it doesn't happen, it at least opens up the conversation and opens up a discussion between you and your teammates about what you want to accomplish. The next thing I want to talk about is being positive. It's right there. Number 2. See, I can reach out and touch it. There we go. Number 2 is be positive. I am a low bronze player, I will admit to that, but I spend a lot of time researching the game. The problem that I run into is that if you haven't practiced your mechanics, it is much harder to initiate that kind of game plan in the middle of things, which is why it's so important to practice. I've since gone up from bronze and I'm becoming a lot better quickly, and part of it is because of a positive attitude. The reason positivity is so important is exactly the reason that I discussed earlier. There will be times where you have to work with people who are really bad. There are times where your teammates will have to work with you when you're being really bad. In either instance, there are two ways to react. You can either say, well, Vayne fed bot, GG. You can say, well, this Nasus is crap, so we aren't going to stand a chance in team fights, and then run away from team fights before they even happen, effectively eliminating your opportunity to even claw your way back into the game. Or you can look at your opportunities, look at your available resources and your items and your capabilities as a champion and the synergy between your team members, and say, what can we do? Okay, what can we accomplish with our team composition? And then that's where be positive comes from. It's not about looking at your weaknesses and looking at the problems that you have and just letting all of that bog you down. What it's about is looking at your opportunities and looking at your resources and using them in the most effective way possible. The one caveat that I will put in that rule is that it's not about ignoring your weaknesses. Okay, that's very different. Ignoring your weaknesses would be running into a fight against, a 7-0 AD carry and saying, we could totally take him down. Well, you probably can't. So what you need to do is you need to focus him down and focus on the fact that if your team has crowd control, maybe you can lock them up. Maybe you can take them out of the team fight to a degree that they can't affect the flow of battle at all. That's what being positive is about. It's not about ignoring the situation, but it is about looking at the situation and saying, okay, what can we do to win? Finally, that brings me to my third rule. It is never flame. Right there. If you go ahead and take a look at the article that I linked in the chat, it is bolded and highlighted, I believe, by my editor that tilt helps no one. Okay? It's one thing to look on a bright side of things and to look at the game and say, oh, this is going great. It's another thing to look at the negative sides of the game and say, oh, this isn't going so well, this sucks, we can't kill, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. It's another thing entirely to then communicate that disdain in a toxic and unhelpful way. Here's the most important rule of never flame. People are human, okay? You are playing, if you're like me and you played with bronze players, we make mistakes. People make mistakes. It happens. Even people at the professional level make mistakes. We saw today in the LCS that Wicked in the game of Evil Geniuses versus Gambit got caught several times. Ultimately, it may have been what swayed the game the wrong way, and he's a professional player who plays for 12 to 14 hours a day. If a 12 to 14 hour a day practicing professional, well-paid player makes mistakes, your top lane Shen probably will too, on occasion. The worst thing that you can do to that Shen, or to Wicked, I'm sure, in the situation that Evil Geniuses faced, is tell them how crappy they are. Tilt doesn't help anyone. Getting angry just poisons the conversation. Suddenly people are spending their precious APM typing angry messages to each other and talking about whose mom did what sexually with whoever else, instead of focusing on beating back your enemies. For example, I was in a game recently where I was playing mid lane Lux, and I don't really play mid lane that often, so I was having a bit of a struggle. And the opposing team took 2 of our inhibitors, and we were pretty much on the ropes. Things were not looking good. And a couple of our players just said, GG, this sucks, bot lane fed, stuff like that. And I did something a little unorthodox. Normally I'm a little more polite in the queue chat, but what I did was I said, guys, shut the f*** up and play. Just shut up and play. 30 minutes later, we had beaten back the lane pressure. We had taken all 3 of their inhibitors, took 2 Nexus turrets, and a Nexus to cap it off. The fact is that telling other people how negative or how badly they're doing, things like that, doesn't help the team composition. It doesn't help the confidence of anybody. The least you could do, for example, if my support's doing really poorly and they die 3 or 4 times, and then they place a ward in the bush, I say, great ward. Because rewarding them for that behavior means that they're going to ward there again. Next thing you know, I see the jungler incoming, I stay safe. Or I see somebody hiding in the bush, I get the jump on them, drop my ultimate on them, and suddenly they're dead. The positive momentum and the negative momentum of those comments both feed. The positive ones make people play better. I'm not saying they're still not going to make mistakes, but it makes them at least try better and learn what behavior they're doing correctly. And the negative ones make people play worse. Because frankly, if I feel like crap and you're telling me that I am crap, what incentive do I have to help you? Why on earth would I take my time to actually help you win a game? Because at this point, you're not my team member. You're an opponent just like them, trying to beat me down, trying to make me feel worse, and trying to lose the game. So once again, the 3 rules of ladder are communicate everything, and I do mean everything, be positive, and never flame your teammates. By doing so, not only will you optimize your chances of winning, outside of working on your pure technical ability and refining your builds and understanding the flow of the game, but you will also improve your enjoyment of the game. You'll enjoy what you're doing, you'll have more fun, and the next thing you know, queuing for ladder won't be so bad because you'll say, you know what, even if we lose, I had fun. I can walk away with my head held high and feel pretty good about myself. Well, those are the 3 rules of ladder. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little break. I see we've been streaming for about 26 minutes, so I'm just going to take about a 10-minute break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how to identify the dive composition, getting into the nitty-gritty in the draft, how to counteract it, and then we'll move into a couple compositions on how to defeat it. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please follow. Please tell your friends, tell your neighbors, hide your kids, hide your wife. Just let your friends and neighbors know. And I will see you guys in about 10 minutes. Like, stick around.